to Lost in South Oz. I'm Bridget. Julie isn't with me at the moment, and we're back at the old Hendon site. Now what you're looking at here is buildings from the old 303 ammunition factory. It's now an industrial complex. To give you a little bit of background, they made the 303 ammunition here for the Second World War. And there was a spur that came off the old, off at Woodville, back where the Finsbury Cartridge factory was. And, well, it was Cartridge, it was shell factory. And as you can see, and so the West Face Boulevard was where the old spur came up to, which is basically behind me. So, and it's gone too. It's all the tracks are ripped up, the platform's gone, and a lot of these buildings have either been repurposed or pulled down, and the space utilised again. I'm going to try and focus on the original buildings rather than see the shark tooth, and then up on that one you've got like the air vents in the roof. I'm going to try and focus on the original buildings rather than the rest of them, because they came later. And one of the stories we came across when we were doing the research for the shell filling and the bomb filling site up at Salisbury, which is the back of Edinburgh, was at the time there was two places filling the cartridges, and there was a lot of like duds, or you know, and eventually this place, because they're both government sites, and eventually this place ended up with the complete contract and just made all the 303 stuff down in Hendon. So you can see the old, like we've done in the old shell and fuse factory over there on the Finsbury line. You can see the old power transformers there, and for the high voltage power coming in. And the old government fences. And I'm not sure if it's going to let me zoom in down the back there through the wire, so. But it's all the same sort of infrastructure, 33,000 volts, I mean seriously. Absolutely seriously. And basically it's a parking lot, 33,000 volts. As I said, when we walked around the old Finsbury line, where they made the shells, cars parking right next to it. And we thought maybe this was one of the old buildings down the end of this street, but it's been repainted and completely changed. And there was some buildings like this in the old other factory as well, this one in front of us. But as you can see, it's all, like even this one, there's like a new front put on it, but it's still the old factory buildings. So the history is still here, it's just repurposed, utilised. Sorry, I'm getting a little shaky. Slow down. This is not far away from the old Finsbury line and not far away from the shell factories and the cartridge factories over there at near Woodville station, where the spur line came off from there. But we did promise to come back and show you all this, so I have. It goes through the other street. All the workshops and this is the other end of that one with the 33,000 volt transfer station, and you can see the old crane coming out on the top floor there. M3 is. Obviously ammunition is not made here now. And like, this all would have had gates on it so you couldn't walk in. And there are cameras everywhere, so. But this is all like a public, not public, but it's all public access. It's just all an industrial site now. Sorry, the wind's picking up. You can tell this used to be a loading dock at some point. All this is the back of the old factory. One of the old factories, or one of the. And they've got all the mobile phone towers through here. What we can hear is that air conditioning unit right there on top of that roof of the first floor, but the ventilation up there is quite interesting. And then you've got, I don't know what that is, some sort of conveyor belt system running across there. Maybe. Some aluminium windows, so I mean a lot of the windows back in those days, they were early aluminium windows, so. But I'd say some of them have been replaced. This gate's opening, so they're obviously on timers because the trucks are going to come in. But today's a public holiday. It's what is it? Easter Monday. Yeah, old roller door. There's a roller door inside there. It's interesting how it's covered. There's furniture in there now. And over here is like a courtyard, so they were in offices and stuff like that. And I think this courtyard was here originally. And there's studios right here that are in this building here. And at one side of the site, I think we had, and there's doors open, must be on a timer. On one side of it, we've got the studios, so Adelaide Studios here, but when they closed the factory down, there's old army trucks in there. I don't see them. I don't know what's in I'll walk around here. This is the almost like a little park, like a place where maybe staff could have had their lunch. But the shark tooth roof design is very the World War II era stuff. The good part of coming down on a public holiday and Easter is that this is, at normal times, this is all businesses and there's cars everywhere and people going everywhere. And it makes it a little bit difficult. So they've got all reflective windows on it, so obviously it looks like an admin building. And the top of this one over here has been, that wouldn't be an original. We don't think, that roof. It would have been all this stuff. And you can actually see the shark tooth in the, where they've extended on. The shark tooth brickwork and where it ends. Now called Butler Reserve. And there's not a lot of information, Julia was telling me, on this area. On this would have been like a, like the Finsbury or the DSTO or the Salisbury the ammunition filling factory or the bomb building factories. It would have been all securityed and not open to the public. It's an old building down here. Government generator or something, an old army one's been sitting there for a long time. No, it's actually, it's all got hoses on it, so it's fire stuff. Hoses, maybe a pumping or something. Old doors up there originally when it was there. Some of it looks like it's been beautified, other areas just look like it's been left like the day they walked out. But we believe on this side is where you originally your lines would have come in, like the line for loading and stuff would have been up this way. But if you look at this, it just looks like it. I think one of the old buildings again. Not this stuff, this is all modern rubbish if you want to put it that way. Whoa. Yeah, it's not been painted, that's original. Door's been sealed up, but the, if you like, the portico looks original. And yeah, it's coming around from that side. So, you know, history is still here. Looking at the razor barbed wire here, it's all original. It's shark toothing. Bottom of the mobile phone tower there. But again, these old buildings here. I'm just focusing on the old architecture, basically the old buildings, because this is all the factory for Hendon. So this government, it was a government ammunition. We've covered the Finsbury line and the shell and ammunition because they had all the rolling plants and stuff, and they supplied all the casings for the filling factories in here and up at Salisbury, or where it's now Edinburgh, but up there they that area's Edinburgh, what was called Salisbury ammunition or shell filling, and they filled the bombs, they filled the fuse, did some fuse stuff. A lot of that's gone too. But see, that would have been that one over there. More than likely would have been an old admin building, where these are where the actual filling factories were. But you can even come here, like this is it, you know, now it's all public, it's all open to the public. You come and have a barbecue if you want. And for me, I think this is a great idea that these factories are utilised and not pulled down, because it's history. It's an old concrete pad. Might have been a substation here. Cameras on the walls. Just security. Like I said, it's all public. As long as you're not doing anything sus, they're not going to come up here. And this one looks like it's almost original. Again, they painted the windows and utilised the building. You can almost see, if you look through that glass, you can almost see straight through. It was like, you know, all the sunlight to come in. It was just natural lighting. Because what you're looking at is you're looking straight through the roof of that building. There's a second floor up there, and there's offices over there, skylighted for whatever they're doing. It's now offices. Who knows what it was back then? It might have been just a factory. You look up there, the old vent, the old asbestos-like looking. Actually, it's probably tin, but coated in something, that old vent. Anyway, I believe the old Phillips factory used to be here as well. So, like I said, I don't have any problem. Oh, there is a factory in here, a business in here. I don't have any problem with them reusing this building number 7, reusing these old factories, because it helps to preserve the history. Otherwise, it's just gone forever. They'll just knock it down and put up some tin can, which, you know, I don't like. And that's just me, I'm one person. But I think these buildings have more character than what's here now. I mean, see how you can see that they've extended the roof on this warehouse? Well, it was once an old factory building, and they've extended it, and they've gone up here. That's all added on. Sealed up some of the dock doors when others have left. Again. And but again, there's just cameras everywhere. I mean, it's sad to see the state of the world we got into, but this is it, you know. This road you come into, I'd assume if you were driving a truck, it's got an island down the middle of it, so it's one way each way, and you can just imagine them being a guardhouse at the end of this, and them and the military checking in people coming through that they were here for, you know, because what was coming in was shell casings, 303 shell casings, for example, and what was going out was live ammo, either on the train or in trucks, I don't know. And this is what you got here. And put a fancy Reese bathrooms is in the building, and it's been utilised by them. The old Holden over there. Well, the old Kiwi, I think. It's got a camper van on the back of it. So then you've got these buildings down here. And like I said, again, just focusing on the old infrastructure, not the modern stuff. There's a breeze. It's been raining. And it's the 21st of April, Easter Monday, Kookaburras. You know, it would be nice if they left the paint from the old numbers and the building numbers on it, but I guess I might have to dig a bit deeper and do a voiceover at points to let you know, or even just put the numbers or anything in that I can help later on. And for this factory to be, you know, working and supplying all this in, you know, in the 40s, it's probably built in the 30s, who knows. Oh, it's an old gas stuff. All the new fire hydrants that have gone in. Well, I don't know about that one, whether that one was. It's got some age to it, but I don't know. And the other gate's open and there's a truck in there. And you can hear that old transformer down there. That one's actually covered in. The 33,000 volt transformer. That one's actually covered in with a cover on it. You know, these days we know that that stuff's pretty deadly, so you know. But a lot of cases those fences weren't there, so they're put down after around those transformers. Their safety standards weren't the same as what they are now. But yeah, I don't know, this is all modern. Like I was saying, Julie thought this building on the corner was original, but the grey one, And it actually looks pretty original. I used to think that aluminium windows were sort of not on the 40, but my research says that. Well, you remember, like, you see the shark tooth on it, on the back? So yes. And there were some early aluminium windows around. I can't remember when they came in. But yeah, it looks like it's had like a facelift to the office. And like I said, this building, I think I showed it to you before, the cream one. There was a couple of corrugated iron buildings even on the other side, so they weren't all brick. Who knows what this was? Could have been some warehouse or a lunchrooms, which is on the other side at Finsbury. They had a building like this, it was lunchrooms or something. I don't know. Again, if you're looking at the windows, it's the same era as the other one. It's probably been cleaned up. Another old warehouse down there. I'll just scoot round this corner. I've been down here. Just going to have a little bit of a look down here on this side. But it was a whole different world back then. The world was at war, and everyone at some point back in the 40s was working for the war effort, so all this stuff would have been quite normal. Same portico on that building. Same on this building. I think it's the other one. Have a quick look down here. I actually didn't see with the one with the army trucks on it. You know, I didn't, one with the army trucks, I didn't actually see what that business was called or what that factory was called. Yeah, there they are. There's the army trucks down there. There's a couple of army trucks in there. God knows what else is down there, but have a look. Armstrong Lane. Old Maggie's. This is the Acacia or whatever that is. You'd have to look that up. Acacia Systems. Some of the original businesses, I don't know, that's number 8. I guess some military stuff would have still come back, but you know, there was businesses like BAE Systems and stuff. I think there was some stuff in here too. I don't know, I could be wrong. But there is up at the, a lot of those factories that came in on war days are still up there in different parts. I guess I'm just waddling away here. But if you were a worker in an ammunition plant back in the day, you would have known this courtyard area, this park. Anyway. I just thought this would have been interesting for some of the people that were sort of into history. And if you're into history and you'd like to see what Hendon looks like today, it's all still here. It's just not an ammunition factory. It's lots of other little private businesses. And this is probably the doors on this one are probably the most original. And all the vents on the buildings, the warehouse is just like a flashback to the old days, right? Who knows what it said on that piece of iron above the portico there. Plant something, who knows. But yeah, I hope this has been interesting. It's certainly interesting to me because from what I read, like I said before, in the history of this ammunition factory, is that they were originally, because you had the big shells and the bombs all being filled up at the Salisbury ammunition filling factory, and they were doing some of the smaller stuff there, like the 303s, and there was just too much air, like they would, well, I understand they were getting duds and, you know, bullets that just weren't firing, so there was a quality control stuff. There was the quality wasn't there, so they split up. This is what I was reading. They split up and just made the 303 stuff here. Well, I could be wrong there. You know, it's you just you do your research, and that's what you come up with. But from my understanding, they were making the small cartridges in several places and in South Australia, and then eventually they just left that contract with the Hendon plant, which is what you're looking at now. And this is the old original government fence. Don't know about this new galvanised bit here, but yeah. That would be, your substation. I mean, 33,000 volts. There must be a panel in there, like a control panel and stuff for all the power. But they were all over. All this old stuff had all that stuff, all these substations all over them. And you're looking at the back of this. Let's see, let's stand back. It's like covered cables coming out of the substation, running down to on the filling ammunition bits with the. But you can see the power lines running out of the back of it. All that trestle stuff running down there, going up the side of that building. I wonder if it'll let me go down to it, whether it'll focus, see how the power lines, the big power lines are going inside the building. So, from there. So yeah, they used electricity in the production of obviously explosive material, ammunition. What part of it, I don't know. But we're back where we started, and I hope you find this interesting as much as I do. And we'll see what we can get as well today. I just wanted to revisit this because I'd said earlier that I was going to come back here and finish the story. So here we are. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll move on to the next place.